MTN has been a challenge. All of them, all the service providers. I'm sorry, guys. I've tried showing up. It's been a delay. So sorry for waiting. If at some point I'm off, I may have to record the class and drop for you guys by tomorrow. So how is everyone doing tonight? Tell me your name and where you are joining us from. My name is Faith Michael. If today is your first time joining the class, please um, tell us your name and where you are joining from. I see Mami Nocensha. I see Dora. I see Ada Julius. Where are you joining us from tonight? Let me see if you guys can see me. Can see me. Can you see me, guys? If you can hear me, also tell me you can hear me. This was the session we're supposed to hold. We're supposed to have last week, but because of issues with internet service provider, it was a pain in the ass, so we couldn't have it. Okay, so we're looking forward to having this session today as we go. Thank you for joining. The title is Immersion for Insight, right? Immersion for Insight. Beautiful. I recommended two books last week. The Lean Startup by Ries and what's the other one? Okay, hold on, let me check. Let me check if you can see me. Okay, Ma'am Innocential can see me. You're welcome, ma'am. We are having issues in this part of the world, but we do hope that um, it will be resolved in the coming days. It's been for almost 2 weeks now. So please, you can tell others that we're live now, both on our Telegram platform, WhatsApp. You can tell them that we're live. They should come now before the MTN change their mind. Okay, I'm trying to check from my end if you can see me. Can you see? It's just loading. Can you see? This is my other device. It's just loading. Can't see nothing. Okay, Martin can see me. Martin, you're welcome. How are you doing? I hope you are fine tonight. Okay, so let's get right into the conversation, guys. It's a beautiful time to be existing on planet Earth because we have access to a lot. We have access to information, ideas, experiences. And one of the major things I hear people say again and again is the fact that because of the proliferations of ideas, informations, people find it very difficult to focus on a particular thing per time because there's this sea of ideas just rolling around and you don't even know where to position yourself. You don't know where to start from. So it's a huge challenge at the end of the day. How do you navigate your journey? And that's what the concept of immersion is really beautiful because with it, you're able to immerse yourself in the flow of ideas that are really necessary per time for you to grow, for you to move from where you are to the next level. Okay, I'm going to take you back to the definitions I gave last week, but then I recommended two books. The Lean Startup by Ries. Those in the business book club, they must have read the book. Mami Essential, have you read the book? Martin, go and remind others to join us in the session tonight. Ma'am Indivu, how you doing? Welcome. So, like I was saying already, I think those in the business book club, they must have read the Lean Startup by Ries. And then we have Creative Acts for Curious People by Sarah Stein. Those were the two books I recommended last week. Please go read those books, they're powerful. The Lean Startup should be in an e-library. Creative Acts for Curious People. If it's not there, I would have to do something about that. But then these books are powerful books and they're going to transform your life. You have to be immersed. That's the truth. You've got to become a learning machine. You've got to become immersed in that area that is in alignment to your vision, that is in alignment to your growth, that is in alignment to your personality. Otherwise, you are not going to be able to flow at a certain pace that will ensure that you become an expert within a short space of time. There's a concept of mastery that has to do with 10,000 hour rules, right? That you have to be able to practice again and again for about 10,000 hours for you to become an expert. And there's this other part that also says you can learn little skills in your sphere of engagement, in your field. You can be immersed and then learn those skills within 20 hours. If you read the first 20 hours by Josh Kaufman, he has that to share. Talks about the concept of the construction, the constructing the overall framework into different components that you can begin to interact with from time to time. It's beautiful, really, really beautiful. So immersion for insight is necessary because with it you're able to engage yourself in the flow. If you have not been attending Book Motivation Mondays, you are missing that, guys. Last week we touched on an aspect of flow, and I said in this coming Monday we're going to be looking at flow on a deeper level, flow psychology on a deeper level. So by definition, last week I said to be immersed for insight means you're fully engaged and submerged in a particular experience, in a subject area, in an environment, so that you can begin to gain deeper understanding, deeper insights. Do you get that? So it's important for you to be immersed. Looking at the life of so many great men and women out there that you've seen, let's even look at the life of David. I was just reading through the story of David once again, and I'm like, I'm so blown away. Can you imagine? You know, for such a person to be in the field, just taking care of the father's sheep, taking care of the flocks, and an experience came that he needed to express what he has learned through that level of immersion, and he was able to pull down Goliath. You see how beautiful that is. Joseph was in the prison for 13 good years. Was in the prison for 13 good years, and at some point he needed to be able to deliver the children of Israel just by the interpretation of the dream of Pharaoh, such that he would not be placed in a certain position of leadership that would allow him to be able to give or extend the freedom that the family needed at that time. So I want to ask you on a personal level, how have you been immersed? How have you been immersed? It may be a difficult situation right now, it may be a sweet experience, whatever it is, how have you been immersed? The subject of immersion means that you have to be engaged in an experience, you have to be engaged in the process, such that at the end of the day, you are able to come up with ideas, brilliant insights. There's a portion of the Bible that says that gain wisdom is the principal thing, that in all you're getting, you should gain understanding. How many of you can remember that part of the Bible? Wisdom is the principal thing. In all you're getting, get understanding. Understanding is insight. And like I would always say that no matter how much I coach you, I can hardly teach you insight. But you can listen to me and gain insight, because insight can only become a solid framework in your heart when it connects to the vision that God has laid in your heart. So you download information and ideas at the frequency of your vision, at the frequency of your personality. Do you get that? So insight is understanding, is having that deep level of idea, of patterns that other people may not have or they don't have in their sphere. Do you get that? So you have to be dogged, you have to be deliberate about really gaining this insight, this understanding that will set you on fire, that would make kings and queens and governors to begin to come to your dwellings, right? Somebody like King Solomon had so much insight in the place of governance, in the place of leadership, that Queen Sheba had to leave Africa to go meet King Solomon to inquire of his wisdom, of his insight. Do you get it? So you have to begin to think about, how do I grow in this my sphere of engagement, in this my little cocoon, so that people can begin to come around to want to inquire of the wisdom of God upon my life, to want to inquire of that insight. So you see, there's such a thing as immersing yourself in an experience. One thing I love about the work of John Simmers was the book Self Improvement 101. He shared a lot around the need for you as a person to begin to evaluate your experiences. Look at the life of look at the life of King David before he became a king. You know, he looked at the experience that the children of Israel were going through at the time. It was like, how can you, uncircumcised Philistine, begin to think about how you can defy the armies of Israel? For more than 40 days, they were held in a particular environment in their mind, in their physicalities, that they couldn't do nothing. They couldn't pull down Goliath. But a man of insight came into the scene. Somebody should type in the comment, a man of insight. A man of insight came into the scene and was able to pull down Goliath. Was able to pull down Goliath. In your business, in your relationship, your parenting, your family, you need insights to be able to thrive. Other people can be struggling. Oh my God, how do I take control of this situation? How do I move from where I am right now to the next level? But deep down in your heart, you're just telling yourself, oh my God, deep down in your heart, you know that you are growing, you know that you are building something, right? That it's a situation will arise that will place you at the cutting edge and you become the go-to personality, you become the go-to person. David was right there in the bush, in the forest, on the backside of the desert, just taking care of goats and, and sheep, right? Until that situation arose. The situation arose that his insight was needed for him to be able to bring down Goliath. And he told King Saul, come on, I can do this. I've had situations where I had to pull down bear in the place of immersion. I've had situations where I had to pull down the lion in the place of immersion. This is just something very small, like the lion and the bear that I killed. All right, I've done this thing before. I've gotten a lot of insight through that immersive experience, right? So immersion is engagement in a learning process. It is engagement in an experience. It is engagement in a subject environment, in a subject matter. That is what it is. So now, last week I said, how do you, okay, I wrote down a side note here while I was brainstorming on this. I said, be afraid of a man that is fully immersed because therein flows a lot of insights. Okay, you can write that in your notes. Be afraid of a man that is fully immersed. So sometimes that immersion can be in some maybe not so pleasant situation. And you're like, oh, this person is really suffering. If you had looked at David at that time, you would have told yourself David was suffering because the brothers, the broad-chested brothers, were enjoying in the father's house, you know, doing all the needful. But then David was in the bush doing all of those things, and somebody would have imagined and be like, you are suffering. Like your situation right now, somebody might look into your life and your situation, maybe if they have access to that, and be like, oh, you are suffering. But it's usually a time to gather insight if you can engage yourself in the process. I hope you're gaining light, right? It's usually a time for you to grow. It's usually a time for you to expand your mind. It's usually a time for you to build capacity for your next level because there's a next level after now. The stage you are in right now is preparing you for your next level. If when I started off coaching many years ago, if I never made up my mind to do it, oh, I told myself I can't do it, I'm scared, I'm this, I would not be here today. So that level had to prepare me for this level. And this level right now is preparing me for the next 2 years, the next 3 years, the next 5 years. So, what is this level of your life right now preparing you for? Are you drawing out a lot of insights from this current immersive experience? Now, the only reason it's going to be immersive is if you are fully engaged in the process, is if you are fully intentional in the process. Whether you are going through a course, you're going through a program, you're going through a coaching, whatever, in maybe you have a goal in the place of learning, they want to become this person. As much insight that you're able to draw out of this current environment of your immersion will determine your next level of execution. Do you get that? Will determine your next level of execution. You don't have to be coerced to do that. Do you get that? It is going to determine your next level of execution, friends. Are you learning? So immersion is really a beautiful thing. In my program, the methodology for personal development, PDMP program, personal development mastery program, We call it the saving methodology. The I there is for immersion, right? For you to be immersed. I spoke about self-awareness and self-discovery, right? Building authenticity so that you can showcase your brilliance. And then the third point is immersion. If you have not gone through that program, anticipate, because we'll be relaunching pretty soon, maybe in the next 1 month. We anticipate so that you can be part of that program. It's really going to bless your heart. So immersion is a learning experience in terms of really understanding how to be in the zone. Yes, how to be in the flow state. Don't miss on Monday, guys. Monday 5 a.m. what? If you are not on our Telegram platform, ensure you join. There's a link in this description for you to join our Telegram platform so that you can also bond with other learners in there. So this is a learning community. This is a growing community. So when you are going through a difficult situation, don't cry, don't lament, don't begin to think about your friends. Thank God for social media today. Social media has made it so visible that right now you're almost like, hey, my friend has done this, my colleague have done this, I have not done that. Don't fret, because this is an immersive experience for you. When you are done with this process, you're going to come out refined. You have to utilize the opportunity that you have right now. Okay, so I've told you about David. Look at Joseph as well. Joseph spent 13 years in the prison. He went to prison at the age of 17 and left prison at the age of 30. Okay, some of these things I'm telling you guys, for those of you that are not Christians, there's a lot of lessons to learn from these guys, biblical stories of people's experiences, people's life. Okay, so Joseph spent 13 years in the prison, and in that time of his obscurity, it was almost like nothing was going to happen in his life. People had given up on him. I believe those he graduated with from school would have said, "Ha, this one he will not finish." Meaning he has come to the end of himself. There is nothing good that is ever going to come out of his life anymore. But he spent 30 years in prison gathering insights. Somebody should type in the comment, gathering insights. He spent 13 years in the prison gathering insights. He was so immersed. Situation can really make sometimes situation can make you to be immersed in an environment. There's a concept of the dark night of the soul. I always recommend the work of Michael Bernard Beckwith. If you have not read his work, good, go and read his work. Michael Bernard Beckwith, MBB. He spoke about the dark night of the soul in his book, Life Visioning. And I'm like, oh my God, that is so profound. That is so profound. You must begin to enjoy your learning experience, guys. I'm learning and I'm enjoying the process. It's so sweet for me. Yeah, it's so sweet. I don't know about you. You have to begin to enjoy the learning experience. So if you read the work of Michael Bernard Beckwith, he spoke about the dark night of the soul. There's a portion of the Bible that says, "Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning." Right? So the dark night of the soul is something that happens to everybody. It happens to everybody. The dark night of the soul. It happens to everybody. So how do you evaluate your own experience such that you're able to come out fine? So even in your moment of happiness, in your moment of joy, your moment of eating salad and perfect, what did they call it? In the moment of eating those sweet stuff, experiencing traveling, going from one place to another, enjoying life, there are still insights to be gained. Do you get it? So it's not only in that moment. There are insights to be gleaned from all of those experiences. So David, I was talking about the life of Joseph, that Joseph spent 13 years in the prison gathering insights. So you should be afraid of such a man that is so much in an immersive experience like right now. Because when that person comes out of that experience, without breaking a bone, it's going to come out with so much insight that can turn the world around. So, how do you go about this? What are some of the stages? Yes, for you, it may not be cleared to say, okay, I'm at this level right now, I'm at that level, right? It may not really be clear for you. You may not have a concrete roadmap to say that, okay, when I step on this level, this is the next step. But some of these steps I'm going to be sharing with you right now, hopefully, it's going to open your eyes up to possibilities and some of the things you can begin to do on a deliberate level to ensure that you are able to flow, you are able to build capacity, you are able to move from point A to point B to point C to point D. So if we have another Joseph right now or the same Joseph right now, I believe Joseph would have been able to deconstruct and tell us how he was able to stay in prison for 13 years, honing his skill, building capacity, and that to the time that he had the opportunity to be called by Pharaoh to come and interpret dreams, he was able to interpret with so much accuracy. And beyond just that, he also gave solutions as to how they can navigate the coming seasons, all right, based on what the dream was about. So I'm going to be sharing with you step by step how you can navigate this journey. Like I said already last week, I think I touched on it a little. I said research is important. When it comes to immersion, research is important. Last week we read the book The Art of Impossible by Stephen Kotler in the Readers Book Motivation Monday. If you were not there, did I? No. For those of you in my inner circle, I think you have access to the replay, right? For those of you in the book club, you have access to the replay. I shared the replay in the e-library, so you can go listen to it. So while I was talking about research, I think in the place where we spoke about curiosity, harnessing curiosity, that it's really important that you're curious. Of course, you're able to harness that level of curiosity, and then you build up and then pick up what the passion looks like, what you want to invest your resources in, and then you become very purposeful with it, connect it to a need in the society. And then we spoke about autonomy, all right, autonomy, the freedom for you to be able to do the things you want to do. And then we went on to also speak on the need for mastery. So you can just go back to that roadmap. It's really profound because with it, you'll be able to research and understand your journey. You'll be able to research and really understand how to get the best out of your immersive experience. You don't just want to be immersed. People are immersed in different things. All right, they are haphazard. At some point, they are drained, they're scattered. They're like, oh my God, I didn't know this, I didn't know that. So we are not talking about that. We're talking about the sort of immersion that is deliberate for you to build capacity. For example, my Innocential is into the food world. She talks about food. So she has to be fully immersed in the food environment. Okay, make research, watch people's videos, do a lot of other things so that um, she's able to build more capacity for what she's to deliver to our audience, to those that are listening to her. Okay, whatever field of influence that you're in, okay, it is important that you immerse yourself in that space, especially if it is something that you love to do so well. It begins from there. So begin to research, read books, read articles. In the last conversation we had on Telegram last Monday, I spoke about Perplexity AI. Somebody should type Perplexity, Perplexity, Perplexity AI. Okay, it's a site just like ChatGPT that you can log in with your email anytime you want to research. It's really beautiful for research. It's beautiful for research. So you can begin to use it to research instead of opening just going randomly on Google and not really knowing where to start from based on that subject area. So you can just get a title. Uh, maybe Ma'am Evelyn that is into clothing, right? Materials. You can just go on Perplexity AI and type a keyword that is connected to your environment, that is connected to your vision, that's connected to what you're interested in that area. I haven't gone through the process I listed before, from curiosity, harnessing curiosity toward developing that passion. From there, you now begin to connect it to the need in the society. So even before you go into all of that, if you're just so confused, remember we're talking about the immersive experience. Type a word in Perplexity AI, and then once you type a word in Perplexity AI, or even a sentence, you can just say, what is the food industry about? Okay, and it will give you a lot. Before you even finish reading that first page, you're going to see more than 5 to 10 different articles that are connected to this very page. I'll begin to link it to different areas. That's how you research. You begin to read different articles, different articles. Just imagine you can really spend time and read, let's say, 20 to 50 articles in that very domain. You're going to begin to gain insight, gain ideas as to what to really major on, what to focus on, right? So research is a major part of immersion. If you want to be a pastor, you can go to Perplexity and say, what does it mean to be a pastor? It's gonna give you a lot, and then you begin to read, begin to see a lot of things that will really open you up. Okay, sometimes immersion you may not really have. Let's say you are in an environment where you don't have books to read, you have access to the internet. Begin to also look at people, begin to study people at close range. That's why if you really want to learn from a mentor, the best way to learn from them is to go close to them. Don't learn from afar. You can look at them from afar, call them your role models. But if you really want to be able to gather enough insight and also see that those insights are deconstructed, they are unpacked for deeper dive explanations, all right, go closer to them. For example, most of my students are working with me on the direct level, right? You have access to ask deeper questions. Like I do things, you are like, oh, Coach Faith, how did you do this thing? What did you use? What application did you use? That's how to learn very fast. Okay, you gather insights at close range. So I want you to understand that when it comes to immersion, research is a major part of immersion. Okay, don't just be casual about it because this is your life. You want to be able to build identity. You want to be able to build. That's just my life. I don't think that word is in dictionary. All right. So you want to be able to build a certain level of mastery. Yeah, there's such a thing as the genius of mastery. All right, you must be able to master your genius. You must be able to go deep into yourself to see that you grow. Like when you enter into a room and you're just talking about that subject area, people are like, "Oh my God, where is she coming from? Where is it coming from?" They're so carried away because your depth of insight in that space is so powerful. All right. So you can look at somebody and begin to look at their life based on they're doing something that are also connected to what you're doing, and you begin to listen to what they are not saying. That's how to listen. Listening is a skill as well. You begin to listen to their body languages, listen to what they are not saying, listen to their cues. That is it. You're listening on a deeper level. Okay, so you see that research is necessary for you to build a level of what insight. Immersion and observation is the next thing. Begin to observe. All right, I think two words came up in our 3 weeks ago conversation: experimentation and observation. And then we picked experimentation. So remember, we're talking about how you can begin to generate breakthrough ideas through the concept of experimentation, right? Of course, nobody has gotten it all together. Nobody has gotten the 100% roadmap to everything. No, we don't know it all. We're constantly tweaking, we're constantly learning, we're constantly seeing how we can grow. All right, so you must begin to observe. Observation is important. Begin to observe. Another beautiful thing is immerse yourself in that environment, okay? Through research, through reading articles, reading books. I shared yesterday learning so much around the subject, and I'm okay, I shared on my leaders page, and I'm currently learning so much around the subject of strategic thinking, guys. Are you learning something? Today is the first time joining me. You're welcome. This is the Readers Public Show. My name is Faith Michael. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and follow this account so that you can keep learning and growing. Yes, this is the time when we come together as a community to share thoughts and powerful insights that will really take you from where you are to the next level. Welcome aboard, friends. All right. So if at all we are able to end this session here, I think we have done so much today, right? But we're not ending it now. I'm just saying because of the issue, the challenge we're having with internet service provider. All right. So understand that when it comes to really building capacity and moving to the next level, there's such a thing as immersion to ensure that you're able to gather enough insight that will help you become an authentic person. So we're looking at the step-by-step methodology, and I encourage you to type them in the comments. We're talking about research, we're talking about observation. All right. Another thing is what we call divergent thinking. This is a deep one. Hopefully, we'll look at the work of Edward de Bono in the coming days. Edward de Bono. How many of you know Edward de Bono? uh, Edward de Bono died last year, I think in his late 90s. Yeah, you can check out his work. He's also the author of the Six Thinking Hats. There was a time I taught on the Six Thinking Hats. Then we're still on Facebook. We're still showing our work on Facebook, the Leaders Public Show. Yes. So we spoke about the six arts, and I looked at the different arts and stuff like that. So hopefully we're gonna look at his work again. Lateral thinking, he has a lot to share around thinking patterns. Yeah, and I really would love to learn more. Divergent thinking is beautiful. That is what you now begin to do. What do you do in terms of divergence? Divergence has to do with spreading out, right? Spreading out. So you don't close yourself up. The first thing you do when it comes to research, when it comes to observation, is that you diverse your thinking methodology, you begin to brainstorm. You can have a board, you can have paper, you can have something, just begin to write down the different thoughts that are coming, because this thing is going to help you to begin to generate different ideas in that one space. So you can be a seamstress, a tailor, you can be a cook, can be a chef, because of your level of divergent thinking, you can begin to come up with different ideas, different thoughts per time, right? That would help you to really center and know that, okay, I think I want to flow with this. I think I want to go into this. Remember, curiosity is important when it comes to generating ideas, right? So in the place of curiosity, you must also be divergent in your thinking. Come up with as many ideas as possible. For somebody like Thomas Edison to have been able to come up with more than 1,000 different projects, that was really enough around divergence, right? Divergent thinking is necessary for strategic thinking, all right, for strategic planning as well. There's a difference between strategic thinking and strategic planning, okay? Strategic thinking is understanding what the problem is. What is the real problem that we want to solve? Okay, what is the real problem that we want to solve? That strategic thinking. Strategic planning is really putting a framework to the solution that you have, such that you are able to address that problem. Because sometimes you may be in an area of life, in an environment, and you're trying to solve a problem. You're trying to solve a problem, but that problem you're not solving. You're not solving the right problem. You're not solving the right problem because you're just trying to run around in circles. But once you can figure out the problem exactly, then you now begin to know how to engage in strategic planning, so that you're able to develop your solution blueprint, your framework that can help you get the best result. Do you understand? So there are several frameworks out there, but once you can understand what the problem is, you know how to tackle it. So divergence is important in your thinking process, when you come up with multiple ideas, okay, to counter whatever it is that you're trying to solve. So we're talking about breakthrough ideas, how we can begin to experiment to ensure that we're able to engage our solutions, right? We're able to generate a lot of ideas. So it means that you must first of all be very strategic in your thinking process, okay? In your thinking process, understand what the problem is. If I ask you now in your industry, how many problems do we have there? How many problems have you seen that you want to solve, okay, in that environment? What kind of people do you want to solve that problem for? Okay, have you looked at your message? Have you looked at the people, their receptivity, their acceptance, and also understanding that this is the real problem? There might be hundreds of problems, but is this the real problem I really want to solve right now? Do you get it? Is this the real problem I want to solve? I've been teaching on reading for so many years. But one thing I've seen that people are so much interested in beyond just teaching them reading skills is showcasing books to them, telling them this book will help you solve this problem, that book will help you solve this problem. People love it, even though there are times they don't even read those books. But they love it when you can tell them this book can solve this problem, this book can solve this problem. People are constantly looking for book recommendations even when they don't read them. Do you see that? So now, but if I decide to focus on that, I may not be solving the real problem. I may just be satisfying their wants and then not really targeting their need. Do you get it? Because sometimes people need something, but they want another thing. So they might be so curious about getting that want met, but you, as a problem solver who is coming up with breakthrough ideas, you must be deliberate to tackle their need. Okay, there's such a thing as a need shaping strategy. Need shaping strategy. I know that on the internet we have a lot of back and forth. Okay, people are trying to solve people's wants because they want to make money. That's what they are going to be paid for. But when you're in the need shaping strategic feed as fed, you must be very divergent in your thinking so that you're able to come up with so many ideas. And it requires a lot of brainstorming. Yes. So hopefully, as we continue, we're going to be looking at maybe lateral thinking, strategic thinking, and all of that. I'll think about that and see what we'll do about it. Okay, maybe we'll look into the work of Edward de Bono and some other great people. Do you get it, people? So, divergent thinking is where you generate a wide range of ideas. Okay, sometimes most of them are unconventional ideas. Okay, unconventional ideas, ideas that you've never interacted with before. How many of you listening to me right now would love to come up with an unconventional idea? Type unconventional idea in the comments. You like to come up with an unconventional idea? Of course, I shared something today that the more creative you are, the more you are able to come up with, the more you are able to actualize your success. Yeah, get to the height of gaining that level of success in your industry. Creativity is also part of divergent thinking. It's all part of it, right? It's all part of it. Creativity, critical thinking, they are all part of this experience. So the ability to brainstorm, come up with a lot of ideas. We read Goals one time in that circle. Goals by Brian Tracy. If you have read Goals, let me see in the comments. Who has read Goals here? Goes by Brian Tracy, and Brian Tracy was just talking about the need for us to be able to, if we really want to solve a problem, we can come up with 20 solutions every single day. I'm like, what? So on a daily basis, I just get my pen and my paper. I'm writing this. Okay, I want to solve this problem in this very industry. Then I write down solution one, solution two, solution three to number 20. Then tomorrow I'll continue again, write 20. The other day I'll write 20. So by the end of 1 month, I have written 600 solutions. Tell me why you will not be successful. Tell me why you will not be successful. When we read the work of Timber Morris says a lot around really strategic thinking. He said the reason we are not really coming up with solutions is that people don't think enough. People are not engaged in a lot of thinking. So we want to just do, and we let go of thinking. So these are all part of the immersive experience for you to grow capacity, for you to become extraordinary, for you to be able to open your mouth and talk, and people are like, oh my God. And you write a book, you write content for somebody or just on the internet, are like, oh my God, so much depth because you have been immersed. So divergent thinking is a part of that. Then when you are done with that, you now begin to talk about convergent thinking. This is where you will now evaluate, you refine the ideas that you have generated during the divergent thinking phase. Okay, you now begin to identify the ones that are most promising, and then you begin to narrow down to make sure that you are able to work with those that are most that have the most potential for impact, right? Those that are aligned with your key objectives. So there has to be the place of brainstorming, divergence in your thinking, and then once you're done, you now begin to refine your process. Just imagine you're able to follow through with the idea of Brian Tracy, coming up with 20 different ideas every day to solve that problem, friends, and then at the end of the month, you have 600 ideas. If you then decide to trim those 600 ideas down, maybe you might end up with 60. You might not end up with 6, right? That's like 1%. You might not end up with 6 that you now begin to implement. All right. Now, if you end up with 1% of 600, don't just decide to say, let me just implement the 6 at the same time. Look at the next thing you do. You're going to begin to prototype and test. That's where experimentation comes in. Now, if you've read the Lean Startup was a very powerful. In fact, there's so much to learn from Eric Ries. He spoke about the fact that he came up with this brilliant idea. It was gym, and then placed the idea in the hand of placed the idea in the marketplace, and at the end of the day, people didn't buy into it, and he was so discouraged. And then he came up with the concept of prototyping. Prototyping and testing is experimentation. We all do it. Big organizations do it. People like Amazon do it. I was listening to Vusi recently, Dembekweyo, from South Africa, and he was sharing some thoughts around the fact that Amazon was as in fact has been a wonderful and amazing company, but for the first 13 years of the company, they were not profiting. They were not profiting anything. First 13 years. The first 7 years of Facebook did not sell anything. And I was like, what? I've never heard that before. I've not, although I've not really read about them like that. All right, for the first 7 years of Facebook was not selling nothing, was not profiting nothing. For the first 13 years of Amazon, it was not making profit, though they were selling something, but they were not making profit. So, are you willing to immerse yourself in an experience as a coach, as a thought leader, as a business person, as someone in a relationship, in a marriage relationship, whatever relationship, as a parent? You learn to immerse yourself in an experience such that you're able to go through all of these processes so that you can begin to generate breakthrough ideas that can solve the world problem. Now, prototyping is really taking an idea, placing it in the hand of the market or your beneficiaries, and ensuring that you're able to gather feedback from your users, from your stakeholders, your peers, and then you begin to iterate the whole process so that you're able to get the kind of refined result that you seek. When I started off the Leaders Book Club back in 2017 of August, it was nothing. It was not something promising. Yeah, it was not something promising that people could really connect with to say, oh, she's doing this, she's doing that. No, it was not something promising. Most of the people who started off the journey as at that time, they see the leaders, they're going to be like, oh my God, so this woman is still running the leaders after almost after almost 7 years now. She's still running the leaders. Wow, that's so profound, right? So that is what we're saying. But the structure has gotten better. People send me DMs all the time. Coach, how did you build this platform? How did you do this? What did you do? What did you do that? Just like you would look at Facebook when they come and talk about business and you are listening to them. Or somebody like Amazon will want to talk about business and listening to because they've gone through the process, prototyping all the way, researching, engaging in divergent thinking, immersing themselves in the experience. They've gathered a lot of insights. So when they are talking, you listen to them. There are a lot of people that are coming for my coaching most times just because they've seen what I have done, all right, for the past years. They're like, I need you to teach me. How do I take my idea from this place where it's almost like it's nothing to this place where it becomes a powerful edifice, where it becomes a powerful environment that people want to connect with because I've been able to stay put. Somebody will stay in a relationship for 20 years, for 10 years, for 15 years, and become a counselor, become a coach to other people. And people want to ask you, how did you stay in your marriage for this long, for 20 years, and that you can be so you can be so patient with your partner, your kids are all amazing if you have kids, and how did you do that? You become a marriage teacher. I remember back in the days when I used to teach on marriage, relationship, and one day one of my pastors called me. I was like, Faith, you're not married yet. How come you're teaching on marriage? How many heartbreaks have you had? How many heartbreaks have you had? I was like, none, sir. None, sir. It was like, so what are you teaching people on marriage? I didn't understand what he meant. Yes, I didn't understand what he meant at that time until I got married. Until I got married as a young girl. Yes. Until I got married, I understood that, okay, this is what he was saying. This was what he meant. Like somebody will come up now and say, oh, I'm a life coach. You just started coaching today. Tomorrow you say you're a life coach. And another person is asking you, what have you learned? What are those insights you have interacted with that you want to become a life coach all of a sudden within just 6 months that you have been coaching? So the truth is there has to be a lot of prototyping. There has to be a lot of failures, a lot of successes along the way for you to be able to come up with insights that will stand the test of time. The first time Joseph ever told his dreams to his brothers, he was thrown into the pit. That was prototyping. Oh my goodness. He was thrown into the pit. The first time he ever had that conversation with his brothers, oh, I saw the 11 stars. They were all bowing down to me, bowing down to one big star. And we were like, oh my God, so we're going to serve you? Huh? You're going to become our king? And they threw him inside the pit. That was prototyping. I believe he learned his lesson. He learned his lesson. When he was to give the next interpretation, he was able to now put structures around certain things that could even save nations of the world. Do you see that? So there has to be prototyping, there has to be failures, there have to be back and forth. When the first time I had a session like this to teach, it was me prototyping. I had to learn. So somebody can come and say, Coach Faith, how do you come up with these topics? How do you teach this way? I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I can really coach you on this. I've been doing this Readers Publish show for more than 2 years consistently. All right. Yeah, 2 years consistently. All right. So somebody will be like, how do you do your show? How do you come up with your topics? How do you do this? How do you do that? Because I have done it. Do you get it? Oh, Coach, you have written books. How did you write those books? Oh, can you teach me how to write my book? Of course, I can teach you because I've done it. I've done it the sixth time. So, guys, you get what I'm saying. So, you have to begin to prototype and test. That is experimentation. Don't be afraid to prototype. Now, the recommendation of Eric Ries is do it very fast. Fail very fast if you want to fail and move on. If you want to tweak the approach again, then good. That is it. That's why people that are creative, coming up with brilliant ideas, implementing on them, they are always better at the end of the day. As opposed to somebody who be like, oh, I'm not ready yet. I'm still trying to prepare myself. When I'm ready, I'll come out. So you know that there's going to be a lot of testing. There's never a time you get to, you tell yourself, I have arrived. Oh, I have gotten it all together. I have all the knowledge in the world right now. Oh, I'm going to show up and they're going to know that I'm here. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. If you fail, fail, and refine the process and move on. Sometimes the people you are even thinking they are watching you, they are noticing you, maybe they are not even there. They are not even, people have issues in their concern, people have issues in their life, people have challenges. They are so engrossed in their own, they are immersed in their own problem and they are busy gathering insights on how to come out of their problems. So you have to be immersed in this journey if you really want to come up with breakthrough ideas that will help you to become an exceptional person. Guys, are you learning? So we're rounding off. So in the place of prototyping and testing, you now begin to talk about reflections and iterations. All right, you reflect, you iterate again and again to ensure why is the word even available? Iteration. Why is it available? It means that you are going to have ideas that will not make sense, but because there's such a thing as prototyping, where you just now I love the internet age. The reason I love the internet age is because unlike in those days, if you have an idea, maybe you want to become a speaker on TV, right? You would have to do a lot of practicing. You engage, you go to different classes and sessions. They will give you time to experiment. You have to do a lot of, sometimes it can take you years for you to even be given that opportunity to step up. But right now, you just carry your phone, put it in your front, and you are talking on Facebook. Do you get what I'm saying? You're talking on Facebook. And now, where the growth happens is in the place of consistency. Growth happens in the place of consistency. So when you stay put on that path and you are there for the longest time, that is when you now begin to build expertise. You now begin to build authority in that space because they've seen you do this thing for the first year, the second year, the third year, the fourth year, the fifth year, the 10th year. You are still standing. And somebody comes around and you're like, oh my God, how did you get to this level? How did you stay to teach me that staying power? Teach me that staying power. The reason we respect and love God so much is because He has been in existence even before our fathers. He created all of us. In fact, He created our Adam, and He has been in existence. You sleep at night, you wake up in the morning. There is no, it's the consistency is so solid for ages, for millions of years. The consistency is there. So why would you respect God? So if you really want to also have a touch of that growth, of that experience, of that expansion, you've got to be consistent. So experimentation is simply just prototyping and testing all of the different ideas you've been able to come up with. All right. I want to give you an assignment. Go and come up with about 100 ideas in that field, in that arena. Maybe there's something you have learned as an experience you have gathered. All right, go and come up with 100 of ideas. Hopefully, you now know that there is a real problem in that space. Just like I identified real problem in the area of reading, people were buying books, they were not reading them. I identified a real problem that was a major factor, and then I started coming up with solutions. I'm constantly tweaking, I'm constantly iterating, I'm constantly coming up with different models to see how I get the perfect picture that will look like that thing, that will look like what I want, that will really solve this problem. Yes, of course, you may need 10 different solutions, all right, that you need to continue to iterate on to be able to get the solution that you seek. Do you get it? So reflection and iteration is important. And the last one there is implementation and action. So once you have been able to on this your breakthrough ideas over and over again, continue to implement. Develop a plan for implementation. Like I said already, there's a difference between strategic thinking and strategic planning. Strategic thinking is, I know the problem. This is the problem based on my interaction in this environment. Strategic planning is, this is the framework. This is the roadmap. From point A, they will move to point B to point C to point D. Just like my framework on personal development is saving methodology, right? That is my own personal framework. If you see it anywhere else, you know that it's solely for portrait. I have interacted in this space. I've seen that people are interested in personal transformation, but how do I take them from where I too started off from before I got to this level that I am right now? If you look at my methodology, the last part there, which is E, is execution, right? Is execution. You, when you discover yourself, you build authenticity, you're immersed in the flow of the work. You build, we'll now talk about vision management, then we'll talk about intention setting, goal setting, and then execution is key. So if you can run through all of these different stages I have just mentioned for really taking your ideas to the next level, implementation and action becomes the order of the day. This is where you implement. A lot of times people have insights, okay? They have insights, they've gathered enough, they are busting out with ideas, but they don't really know what to do. They are stuck. All right. I know that in organizations, for example, okay, in organizations, we have people who are very good with strategic thinking. We have people who are very good with strategic planning. We have people who are very good with execution. That's why in the times that we're in, you have coaches, right? You have people who can bring you into this environment. Let's say you're very good with coming up with breakthrough ideas, but execution is your problem. Get a coach, connect with a coach like Coach Faith that can walk you through this process because she knows how to execute. She doesn't sleep on ideas. So connect to her and say, Coach Faith, I need you to help me to be accountable to execute on these ideas. How have you been able to do it over the years? How have you been able to execute on ideas? And ideas don't sleep in your mind. When they come, you brainstorm on them, you come up with a roadmap, and then you're executing on them. That is it, execution. Maybe as you continue on your journey of impact, of doing one or two things, you can now begin to look at, okay, I think right now I want to relax a bit. I need somebody to help out in execution. I need somebody to help out in the strategic planning and all of that. But then you can be all in one. You can build capacity to be able to, harness all of these different angles, all of these different dimensions of your exploit. Because this is you we're talking about here. You are the system, you are the organization, you are the company. All right. It is you we're talking about right now. We need you to be able to bring the insight that you have gathered in the secret place, the insight you have gathered in the place of immersion to the bear, to the forefront, to the physical reality, wherein people are able to connect. If King Solomon, with all of his insights, he wasn't really able to build a roadmap that he could begin to execute on, people wouldn't have seen from afar to say, okay, I want to connect to this king. I want to go and inquire from this king. I want to go to this place to go and know more about this. That is it. So your ability to begin to build roadmaps, okay, frameworks. If you need to secure resources, good. There are times you don't have all the resources. We talk about time, we talk about energy, we talk about attention, then we talk about money. These are the four major resources. You can type it in the comment section. That is the team model. Team model. TEAM. TEAM. Guys, if you have any question, drop it in the comments. We're rounding off right away. Okay, in the next 5 minutes, we'll be done with the session. The team framework. TEAM. TEAM. All right. Do you have time? Do you have energy? Do you have attention? Do you have money? All right. These are the different resources. It is possible you don't have enough time, but you have enough money to do the work, right? It is possible you don't have enough attention to really give to this thing, but you have enough energy to harness within a particular space of time. So you can now begin to block out your schedule and say, okay, every day I'm going to do 3 hours of deep work into this project. Every day I'm going to do 1 hour of deep work into this project, and boom, I get the result that I seek. So implementation and action is important. Once you have been able to run your breakthrough ideas over and over again, you must develop a plan for implementation. You can begin to create roadmap, begin to secure resources. Okay, if you don't have time, maybe you need just to begin to do 1 hour on a daily basis or 3 hours on a weekly basis. But are you willing to put that in? When we talk about flow, the flow psychology, don't miss on Monday, guys. We're going to go deep into flow. You're going to see flow from another dimension. So whenever we talk about flow, you realize that somebody in the state of flow, somebody in the state of immersion, in the state of flow, and is able to invest 5 hours in a week into their vision, we do far better than someone who is not in the place of flow, who is not in the place of proper immersion. We do far better because your productivity is going to be 100%. I don't know that I get the gist. Your productivity is going to be 100% due to the fact that you have that, you are in that immersive experience, you are in that flow state. So what really matters is I have a focus, I have a target. This is what I want to achieve. Can I put in 5 hours every week? How do I trim out these 5 hours? Now we're talking about how to begin to ensure that you're able to rally, support, get the resources that you want. If there are activities that you do that takes your time, that you may have to clone yourself in another person, then you have to do that deliberately. You have to do that deliberately so you have enough time, you have enough energy to immerse yourself in that state. So if it is attention you need, maybe you need to work on your attention span, right? Maybe you need to go read Deep Work by Cal Newport. Deep Work by Cal Newport. It will open your eyes to deeper truths on what it means to really be immersed part time. There are different levels of deep work. Okay, you may have to go read that work and learn more, right? So maybe you have to understand how to leverage your money. Possibly you have the money to spend. You can get people to do certain work for you, the time as well. So these are ways you now begin to put yourself together, manage yourself so that you can really implement on whatever it is you've been able to come up with. I hope you have learned something tonight. I'm so grateful to God that network came up, and I prayed. We prayed just to ensure that network came up, and it did. It's really been terrible since for the past 2 weeks. I don't know how it is in your end, wherever you are listening to me from. I'm talking based on my own country right now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've learned a lot from Immersion for Insight. If you're learning from the Readers Public Show, don't come alone next week. Tell them that there's a coach, there's one coach from Nigeria. She's always teaching the deep stuff. Come and listen to her. You're going to be blessed. So invite your friends for next week, Friday, same time, 8 p.m. What? And then we meet every Monday as well. For those of you that would not want to connect with other readers around the world, you would also love to ask me questions. You love to speak, all right, so that I can help you out get certain things straight. Or you can also begin to build capacity deliberately. Don't miss Monday. Every Monday, 5 a.m. What we meet on our Telegram community. It's a place where we immerse ourselves again. Maybe we should even change the name from the Leaders Book Club to Immersion Book Club, something, right? So immersion is really beautiful. Hopefully, maybe one of these days, we're going to just have an immersion, maybe boot camp where we just immerse ourselves, and it's going to really be beautiful. Okay, thank you for your time. There are no questions. I've not seen any questions. Okay. All right. I'm going to see you guys on Monday. And if you are listening to this on a replay and you have any question, please type it in the comment. I will try as much as possible to address your question. Okay. Or join the Telegram community through the description, the link in the description. Join us there. You can also connect with us. All right. If you also would want to join any of our program, you're welcome. You can send DMs. You can let us know that in the comments, and then we're going to give you the appropriate link for you to send a DM, maybe on WhatsApp or Telegram. Thank you so much for your time tonight. It's been beautiful. God bless you all for showing up and for your patience. Have a beautiful, beautiful weekend and night rest. Bye for now.